I just discovered my fiancé is the father of my mom's child, and they've been hiding it from me for years. My fiancé, 25 male, and myself, 24 female, have been together since we were 17 and 18 years old. Honestly, he was always kind, handsome, funny, and everyone used to say, I was so lucky to have the whole package. I felt so lucky too. He always treated me with love and respect, so this makes everything just so shocking for me. I have always had a good relationship with my mom. It has always been her against the world. My dad died in an accident when I was little. We always joked, we are the real-life Rory and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. My mom dated guys on and off and they were usually cool, but nothing really past the early stages. Around 4 years ago, my mom told me she was pregnant, which was a huge surprise. My mom was around 42 years old, and although she was sort of dating someone recently, didn't meet the guy but knew she went on dates, it still was a big shock. She never thought she could be pregnant at her age. She had me when she was super young and oopsie, and I can tell she was stressed and worried. I decided to support her since she has always supported me and tried to reassure her. She then had my brother, who is now 3 years old. I have a close relationship with my brother. I have helped taking care of him since he was born and I just love the little guy. My fiancé was also always helpful with my brother. We would take him out for ice cream, playground pool time during summer, etc. but nothing was weird. He was just my then boyfriend spending time with my brother and I now know how I found out. My fiancé and I lived together since we finished college. My fiancé was not at home since he was hanging out with friends, but I was home because I didn't feel like going out and just wanted to chill on my sofa. At some point during being watching a series on Netflix, my laptop died and I was too lazy to go get my charger, so I just took my fiancé's iPad. I know the password, but honestly never used it before. The iPad logged in and I got a bunch of messages pinging. I guess he hasn't used it in a while too? Anyways, this got my attention and I went to check it out, and of course I found everything. My mom's number wasn't under her name, but I recognized the number and verified it with my phone. She was telling him she felt guilty and that I should know. He said he also felt guilty but couldn't lose me, and they screwed it up. She said that it was unfair for my brother to never not know his dad and that if he could live having his son around not behaving like a dad but a brother-in-law. I broke down. What the actual hell? There weren't a lot of older messages, just some photos stored of my brother as a newborn, my mom pregnant, and more photos of my brother growing up in an album. I couldn't anymore. I cried for what seemed like ages and I wait for my boyfriend to come back home. I wish I was one of those women that can pretend and get things together before confronting the cheater, but I can't. He came back later that night, around 11:30 at night, and I just gave him the iPad with the conversation open and saw his face completely go pale. I asked for an explanation when, how, and why, and he didn't want to at first, but knew he had to. Apparently, a few years back, while I was traveling with some friends, girls' trip, my fiancé and mom had dinner together. This isn't strange since he has been part of the family for so long. Sometimes mom and fiancé would eat together at our place even if I was busy with sports or out. I did the same with his parents, somehow, unclear how, since he couldn't explain it. Well, one thing led to another and they ended up sleeping together. They felt guilty, but apparently not guilty enough because they slept together 2 or 3 more times, using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me. Apparently, when my mom got pregnant, they stopped sleeping together, and decided to not tell me. Since my fiancé loved me and couldn't lose me and my mom didn't want to lose her daughter. So here we are now with 2 of the most disgusting humans. I obviously broke the engagement, told my mom to never talk to me again and moving with a friend. I feel bad for my brother since I really love him, but I can't be around him now. I just can't. I feel like it would remind me of all those times we talked about having kids. I would be his baby mama, only baby mama. We talked about this future since we were 17 years old, so I want to puke every time. I think how I was actually taking care of his child with someone else while still having those dreams. I want to puke. Update 3 days later, I was afraid. I was indeed confronted near my office this week. I knew this was coming, but thought maybe I had more time. My ex was the person to come find me. Yesterday, Wednesday, after finishing work and walking to where my car was parked, my ex was sort of lingering, waiting around. I thought about running, not going to lie, but I guess in the moment I felt strong enough to get over with it. Instead of having that hanging above my head waiting to be approached again, he asked if we could talk and I said yes, but I didn't feel like having that conversation over coffee, like we were old friends. It felt ridiculous, so I told him to just talk right there. We were in the streets, but somehow it wasn't crowded, but also not completely lonely. It felt right. He basically said sorry 100 times and that I deserved better. I agreed. He said he did love me and that he still does, but he would understand why I wouldn't want anything to do with him. He said that if I did in fact consider giving him a chance that he would go to therapy alone or together or both, and that he would work hard to win my trust back. I told him it wasn't possible. There was too much damage. This sounds calm when I type it, but in the moment things came out more with louder tone and harsher words. Anyways, he did say that he is in me or will be. It was a bit of a blur, process of getting custody, partly, for my brother, and that he in fact does want to be a dad to him. He said he does not want to be together with my mom, that it was just a stupid mistake. Sure, because a 4 to 5 time mistake is just a random thing. He couldn't explain why he did it in the first place. I think he doesn't even know himself. I asked if he cheated with someone else before. He said no, not sure if to believe it, but he sounded honest. I asked why he didn't come clean, and he said that after he did the deed, he always felt panicked and it hit him that he could lose me and he just didn't want to. I told him if it wasn't meant to be found out, then what was his plan? To have my brother around and ignore the relationship forever? He said he didn't think far enough and that he was basically going with the idea one day at the time type of survival. I asked him if he felt that my mom seduced him. He said it was mutual, which made me want to puke again. I asked if he has any contact with my mom since I found out. He said yes, but mostly about my brother. He didn't elaborate more and I didn't press for more info on that. He said he told his parents the day before about everything. The parents were not happy, but they are now glad to start building a relationship with my brother, their grandkid. Honestly, all of this felt like a punch in my stomach. I don't know why the parents wanted to contact me, but he told them to wait until he approached me first, hence why he was here. I asked if he started or thought about the custody before I found out, and he said no, but when I found out was like the push he needed. Great. It seems like I helped him get his crap together, and this past week he was arranging all of that mess. That's why he hasn't tried to see me before. He sounded and looked defeated, but the whole thing made me sad and angry. I was mainly depressed before, but now I'm furious. I feel like he is still in an okay place and he isn't paying for his actions beyond me leaving him. He will have my brother, his parents and others and move on with his life. While I lost everything, I hate him. We parted ways, not in a happy note, and I told him to never get near me again. I was done. He asked me to see my brother still, that I was important to him, and tried to guilt trip me, and it worked, but I still think I can't. I don't know much about my mom and really hope she doesn't come finding me anytime soon because I'm fuming right now and won't be able to handle it. I will be contacting my family and friends and finally doing the blasting today. I think it's about time, and after my talk with him, I got the extra push I needed.